Okay, so in this video, all we're going to be doing is changing the chain. So I've put a chain checker on this chain and it is just measuring slightly just over worn. So to prolong the life of your cassette, it's a good idea to change your chain before it wears out too much, because otherwise you will wear your whole drive chain out and you'll have to change your cassette, your chainring and your chain. But if you can keep on top of changing your chain before it wears out too much, then you shouldn't need to change your cassette or chainring. First things first is we'll just drop the gear into the smallest ring and then just make a mental note of how much distance you've sort of got between this top jockey wheel and the chain. We will set it up and I'll show you sort of what you can look for when you're setting it up. But the two things you can do is either count the amount of links you've got, or if you don't know or you haven't got a chain already, then you can just follow this step just to set your chain length. So what you're going to need for this is, if you've got a pair of quick link pliers, then you can use those. Makes life a little bit easier. So most chains, if you have got a quick link, you can just follow to the quick link. So this is the quick link here. So this is a link that will just quick release with a pair of quick link pliers. So you'll just push this in and it will release the chain. One thing you can do on this derailleur is just pull the derailleur down and use this lock button here. So I'll just show you how to do that, and then we'll use the quick link pliers to just release this quick link. Okay, so all I'm going to do on this derailleur, which is a SRAM Rival 11-speed derailleur, is just pull this derailleur down, push this lock button in, and that allows the tension to be off the derailleur. Find your quick link, which is here, use your quick link pliers, and once you've found that, just push in, and that's your chain released, and then you can just pedal forwards and remove your chain. So it's a good time to just check your jockey wheels, and I think this lower jockey wheel is going to need to be replaced. Yeah, there's quite a lot of play in this jockey wheel here, so I will replace that, but just for the sake of the video, we'll just get the new chain on. This is a SRAM PC 1130 11-speed chain, so you do need to just count the amount of cogs you've got here to determine which speed chain you use. So in your box you'll have the chain and two quick links. So you might find that the quick links are on the chain already. Just get your chain, run it over the top of the cassette and just find the teeth. And then on this chain ring there is, it's called a narrow wide chain ring, so there is a thick and a thin, and you'll notice on your chain you've got a wider part and a narrower part, so that's your thick and that's your thin. So just line that up, and then in terms of your derailleur, you just basically want to go to the right side of this one and to the left side of this one, and just note there is a little notch in here and you want to go to the left side of that notch. So bring this chain down, in and around, and there is a narrow wide part on this jockey wheel as well, and just feed that down like that. So that's your chain fed round the cassette through the derailleur, missing this little notch. You don't want to run to the right side of that notch because it'll be all rumbly, and then you've got your chain on your chain ring as well. So now that your chain is in the right location, you can release this lock ring off here and just let the chain come back. Get this part of your chain and this part of your chain, and as you can see there's no tension on that derailleur, so you want to add tension just by pulling down, and you want to get the derailleur to have tension and for the chain to miss each other, so you don't want this part of the chain touching this part. So if you ran it like that, it would be running against each other. So just pull the chain down, release it a little bit, and you want about the same amount of gap as you did before. And as I mentioned before, there's a thick and a thin part of the chain, so with your quick link, that needs, both sides need to be going through the thinner part of the chain. So you need to break your chain on this left hand pin, and on this side the right side pin, so you've got both sides looking like this. All I'm going to want to do is find where I want my quick link to be, which is going to be about there. So I need to take this pin out, so I'll grab my chain tool, push your chain in there, and then put your thumb on top. This is just a cheap, small, it's not like a workshop chain tool, but it'll do the job. And just get it so your chain is nice and flat, it's not kinking up or going to come out, and your pin is nice and central to the link. And just wind it, and we're going to push this pin the whole way out because we don't need it. So that pin is the whole way out. back that off, and then that's your chain disconnected. And as you can see now, we've got both parts of the narrow chain. So you can go back, lock the derailleur into position, and then get your quick link. You can see there's an arrow, so you want your arrow the way the chain's going around. So we'll put this link into here and this link on the back side, connect it up like so, and that needs to be pulled away from each other to get it to connect. So some quick link pliers you can do that, but if your quick link pliers don't do that, or you haven't got some quick link pliers, a little tip you can do is just release that, back pedal so that your quick link is on the top, hold your back brake and just push down on the crank, and that's clicked into place, and that is your chain fitted. Okay, so that's the new chain fitted. So it is good to just have a visual look over everything whilst you've got that apart. And obviously, as you can see, I've noticed that these jockey wheels do need replacing, so they do run on a bearing, so I either need to change the bearing or change the complete jockey wheel. So just for the sake of this video, I've showed you how to fit the chain, but I will go back and replace the jockey wheels. So check everything over when you're changing it, so the condition of your cassette, chainring, jockey wheels, and obviously make sure that your derailleur is set up perfectly and everything's in line, so your hanger's in line and all your limit screws and B screw is set in the right place. Obviously on my last video I did go through setting up gears, so I know that everything on this derailleur is where it should be. So if you didn't see that video last week, I did a short video on setting up your gears from scratch. So that's setting up your limit screws, your B screw. There's a nice gap here, there's tension on the chain, and that's going to now allow enough length now just to go up onto the top. And this theory works pretty much with every chain. Some manufacturers and some gears will give you a guide on how to set your chain length, but if you're not sure, this method works for most bikes. So I'll just show you now that the chain will go all the way to the top. Okay. So now you can see that the chain is on the top. It's not too stretched out, so you haven't got your chain all the way over here. There's a nice length to that chain, and then when you drop down to the bottom, you're not fouling on your jockey wheels or anything. So, and if you found that video useful, then please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.